Steve, thank you so much for joining us today to give people a sense of what they can expect at the next Thrive Together. I wonder if you might start and tell us a little bit about your expertise as a scientist.
Oh, yes. Well, I am a geologist, and my specialty in geology is sedimentology. So I study sedimentary rocks like sandstones and limestones and shales, but not just the rocks, but also the environments on the Earth's surface where those kinds of sediments are deposited and eventually become rocks. So we get into studying Earth history. There's a little paleontology involved. And then the application is to, say, oil and gas exploration and production, other kinds of mineral deposits, and then most importantly these days, water resources.
Wow, that's so interesting. I wonder too if you can tell us a little bit about your experience in these overlaps of faith and science. This is an active conversation, and I know you really are a national leader in it. So what does that look like for you?
Thank you for saying that. But it really started when I was a sophomore
Wow.
in college, because I was one of the rare people that knew they wanted to be a geology major going into college.
Wow.
And I was also a seeker. And so in my sophomore year of college, when I'm getting deeper into my geology courses, I was getting deeper into my faith.
Wow.
And so it was interesting to learn, because I wasn't even aware of it, that there were people who perceived a conflict between modern geology and the biblical account of origin. So that kind of set me on my way. And I've been blessed to have many mentors who are just very strong in their faith, but also scientists I can respect.
That's awesome. And so what were some of the tension points for you as you discovered, as you say, that some people think there's a conflict?
Sure. Well, I was given a book that pretty much contradicted everything I was learning in my geology classes. And it was written by some very well-known authors of that genre or movement of young Earth creationists. And it was very confusing, but also a little bit disturbing, because I trusted the person who gave me the book, and I thought, well, this just doesn't make sense. They're saying things that I know are just not true about rocks in general and Earth's history. And I fortunately had a professor at my university who was also the faculty advisor of one of the main campus Christian groups.
Cool.
So I went to him with the question of what do I do with this? And he was very helpful in showing me that those perceived conflicts really aren't necessary. And there are ways of understanding scripture which bring more harmony, or at least complementarity to the scriptural account of origins and the scientific account.
Yeah. You know, as you describe that story, it really strikes me that what we're asked to do is to invest deeply in scientific investigation and also deeply in scriptural investigation. That too takes effort to understand the genre well of the literature that we're reading. Am I hearing that correct?
Oh, absolutely. And I realize when I'm speaking to people about that, I can't expect them to, fully be understanding what I'm talking about sometimes. So what I hope to do in this presentation is to not really get into real technical science, but just to talk about what the questions are in science and how there are, different ways of approaching how we look at the Old Testament narratives, the accounts of creation, and how they might come into harmony with a scientific account.
That's really helpful to hear that as you studied science more and studied scripture more, as you were a good student of both, you found the harmony that exists between them.
Yeah, it took a lot of reading. There were some very helpful people that I knew, but also books. There was a professional organization that I joined of scientists that are Christians, who are Christians. I even got to serve in the leadership of that organization at one point. But as a young man, this network of Christians in the sciences was very, very, very helpful.
So it sounds like you were able to work through that dissonance that you felt.
Yes, I don't feel any conflict now.
That's awesome.
There are some pressing questions that have to do with the historicity of Adam and Eve, the fall, and the consequence of the fall on nature. Not so much on humankind, but on nature. A lot of questions of what we call theodicy, which is, where is God in the midst of things like natural disasters? So there are a lot of questions that I still have, or answers that I don't have, but I don't have a conflict mentality where I expect there to be some kind of conflict. I expect that eventually there can be an understanding where both accounts can be appreciated and they can dialogue with one another. They can integrate.
Yeah. Oh, that's just what we need. The assurance of a guide that says, this is all going to work out if we devote the patience and the study that it needs. So I wonder if you might give us a sense of how you're planning our time for that evening. What can people expect when they come on Sunday the 28th?
Sure. We're going to look at some polls that show how Americans in general and Christians in particular view some of these issues. And also some of the polls that say youth are really concerned about this perceived conflict between the church and, say, mainline or mainstream science. And then we'll move from there into an exploration of how to look at the origins controversies, but also set our minds onto how can we apply that to some more contemporary issues that involve science and faith.
Excellent. So people should come with their questions.
Absolutely.
Come ready to learn.
There'll be times when I'll have something to present, but I'm also going to have periods of Q&A or talk back, and there'll also be a couple of table talk discussions.
Wonderful. It's absolutely, I've already started to invite friends. I invited my physical therapist this morning. So invite your neighbors and friends, especially young people, but it really is for everyone. So we look forward to it. Steve, thank you so much.
Thank you, Amy.